Welcome to Peak Performance, the Hormone and Peptide Podcast version number 1. I'm Justin Bucky, and I'm here with my co-host DT Roth.
Yes, sir. First one of the, we've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yes.
So this is nice. We're finally getting on here and sharing with the people what they want to hear, or we think.
We think what you want to hear.
I don't know.
All right. So first and foremost, I'd like to let everyone know neither one of us, neither DT nor I, are doctors. No. What we're going to do is share our personal experiences with you, as well as experiences that many of our clients have had over the years, as well as the training and our own years of research.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I mean, when you come into this, everybody wants to know. Well, they think you're a doctor on TikTok.
Yeah.
People are starting to think that I'm a doctor, which doesn't. I don't look the part of that. The experience that we've came about over. I mean, how long have you been doing this for?
Personal research over 20 years, but in the medical industry, 15 plus now.
Yeah. It's so for myself, started doing things in my early 20s. So about 10 years roughly.
Yeah.
And I've been with you for about 2 years.
Correct.
So, I'm more new to the area, but I'm not. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that you could be new and you could be very educated on what you're doing. Without a actual doctor license.
The beautiful part about what we're doing is we actually do have a doctor on staff for everyone.
Correct. So I guess really in the gist of everything, how did you get started in this and why did you I know your story, but I guess why did you do this? What was kind of like the key of why Justin's doing this?
So I'll give you a quick little rundown before I got into the hormone industry. Went to school for automotive marketing, business management, used very little of the automotive marketing clearly, love the business side of it. From there, got into the supplement industry, sports supplements, had a supplement distribution company as well as a supplement line. Wasn't a big fan of how that industry was regulated or not regulated and the stuff that was going on. So I got out of there and went into pharmaceutical sales, which was also not my calling. Excuse me. But from there, I found a job with a compound pharmacy. I started doing compounding, doing the sales, signing up accounts, calling on doctors, much like the practice that we have now, so we could service them. And what I kept getting from doctors was, well, what do I need or how do I use it? Which kind of blew my mind because I was calling on what I thought were so-called hormone experts. And they're asking me how to use it. And so finally, one day, the light bulb clicked in my head that if I'm going to have to teach these doctors how to do this, then I'll just hire my own doctor and teach him. Because number one, the patients are losing out on a huge opportunity of additional services that are going to help them get to their goals and live the healthiest, highest quality of life. And number two, the practice is losing out on a huge stream of additional services that could be offered to help people.
No, I think that's knowing that story. A lot of companies or a lot of places, I think just do it wrong, right? And they're doing it for the wrong reasons. The one thing that you came, when I came aboard, you said, listen, I want to do this right. I want to do this the healthiest way possible. I want people to be happy, horny, and healthy.
That's it.
The Triple H effect.
Yep.
So I think what you've created here and now 10 years later.
Lifexmd is going on 13 years
13
now.
years. Okay. I guess I'm behind on
my notes might be off on there.
No, that's me. So kind of fast forwarding to where we are now, it's been a journey for you, right? I mean,
correct.
You've gone through different doctors, you've seen different things. I guess from the doctor's perspective, a lot of people don't understand that when they look at us on a platform of IG, TikTok, they think that we can prescribe those things. Can you kind of explain this is all doctor supervised and what we're trying to do here? What we're trying to do.
So everything, as DT was just saying, this is not somewhere where you can call and just order like you would protein or supplements online.
Right.
Everything is based off medical necessity. So by law, we have to be treating symptoms. You can't just come in and say, I want bigger muscles. We can't treat you for muscle growth. We treat symptoms like low libido, mental clarity issues, energy, body fat issues, loss of muscle, loss of desire and quality of life. So what we do is find out what's going on inside of you by pulling blood or diagnostic labs, figure out where your essential hormone levels are at, And then from there, we replace them like with like, simply meaning bioidentical hormones are the exact molecular structure of the hormones that are in your body.
Okay.
So we are not producing, we're not substituting with, mass performance enhancing drugs.
Right.
We're bringing your testosterone levels back up to where they were in your late teens and early 20s, because that's where you think your best, feel your best, sleep your best, have the best libido. And that's where you're going to live the healthiest, highest quality of life.
Now, with that being said, testosterone in itself, males and females create testosterone. A lot of people are going to say that testosterone is synthetic because you're injecting it into you and it is made from a pharmacy. But it is a bioidentical hormone because you make it. So can you explain that aspect of it?
Yeah. So your natural testosterone, you have a molecule here, and the lab-made testosterone is the exact same molecule. Right. So if you put them side by side, or picture a key and a lock, I don't even know how to
do it.
That key
Stick
and
it in
that
there.
lock goes right in there.
Just like that.
We're replacing like with like. They match, they fit.
Right.
Whereas if you use a synthetic, your body knows that is a foreign substance.
Right.
You release antibodies against it, which is where a lot of the side effects that you hear about in the media come from.
Right.
But the problem is they're taking the side effects from synthetic hormones, and then they're taking the information from bioidentical hormones, and they're grouping them all together.
Gotcha.
In reality, the bioidentical hormones are the ones that help us live the highest quality of life and live the most protected life.
Right.
Because if you think about it, when you're in your late teens and early 20s, you're typically not dealing with Alzheimer's, dementia, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis, many of the what I like to call age-related diseases. Right. So there's direct correlation that as you get older and your hormone levels decline, the rate of diseases drastically increase. So if we can bring your hormone levels back up to optimal, and normal is not optimal. Optimal is where you are in your late teens and early 20s.
Right.
Again, that's where your body is most protected, and that's what we aim to do.
So I would say, and I'm just asking these questions because I feel like from what I hear every day and what you hear every day, the questions I'm asking are what people ask.
Sure.
So I'm trying to put that into follow our little guideline here, but put that into testosterone levels. When people come to us, we treat symptoms, not levels or numbers. But there is a controversial type of number, right?
Right.
So can you explain to people what our thought process is on the symptom, but also the number, right? Where what's low in our eyes, but what's optimal in our eyes, and then what symptoms. So like when I come to you and let's say I had like a 600 test level.
Sure.
And a normal physician or normal doctor would say, you're fine. I don't feel fine though.
Sure.
I don't have sex drive. My clarity and my brain fog is just crap. How am I going to get help from a doctor if they just look at the number and say, you're fine?
So that's where a lot of doctors go wrong. They treat the number, they do not treat the symptom. In reality, you should be treating the symptom and using the lab work or the number as a guideline. But there is no magic number. I can't say 700 is where you're going to feel your best, and that's where everybody needs to be, because we're all different genetic specimens. And in God's creation, we're all going to require different things, and we're all going to have different goals. Right. So there is no magic number. You treat the symptom until the symptom is alleviated. And we do a lot of training with a world-renowned expert, Dr. Neil Rouzier. All of our staff does it. And he teaches us in that this is where a lot of doctors go wrong. They don't listen to what the patient tells them. They look at the lab work and they treat the number.
Right.
There's a couple of issues with that. Not everybody's going to be, their symptoms are not going to be alleviated with the same dose. And number two, those ranges in those numbers, they go downhill as you get older. So you don't want to be in the age range for somebody who's 55 to 60 or 65 to 70. You want to be in the age range for somebody who's in their late teens to early 20s, 18 to let's say 25. So that is your optimal ranges, or even just outside of that range, because again, that is where your body's most protected, and that's where you're going to live the highest quality of life.
Right. I mean, if we're talking about blood work or testosterone, there's a lot of different things that we can go into about blood work, and it takes a lot of time. But with blood work in itself, the levels that these levels are coming out with on these blood works are, I feel, made for people that are just the normal or average person, right? So when you look at it, you look at testosterone is, I believe it's 264 to
9 or 11. Depends on the every lab
exactly.
has a different range,
Right.
just so everybody knows that.
So we use LabCorp, and I think ours is like, I think it's like 912 or something,
Something like that.
something of that random. But then you look at all these different numbers, right? And a lot of the time, people will just look at their total testosterone, but there is a free testosterone attached to that. So your number can be, let's just say, 1,500 of where we would like them, but then you have a 30 of free testosterone. So how do you feel about testosterone and free testosterone?
So you can have all the total testosterone in the world, but if it's bound up by blood proteins, which are referred to as SHBG or sex hormone binding globulin, they're not going to be usable. That's your free testosterone. And what ends up happening is SHBG is just a blood protein that will bind to your testosterone molecule. And again, with the key in the lock scenario, it will not go into there, so it'll hit there. But
so you're going to scissor it.
Yeah, exactly. That's damn scissoring. So, you know, having high SHBG is a double-edged sword because it lowers your free testosterone or how much testosterone is able to be used in the body.
Right.
Now, SHBG does have protective heart benefits, so you don't necessarily want to suppress it. For a long time, that was a internal battle I was going with. Well, what do I do? Because I don't want to suppress the protective benefits of the SHBG, but at the same time, we want our patients to have high free testosterone because free testosterone is king. So Dr. Rouzier, the doctor we do our training with again, looked at me and said, Justin, have you ever had a patient get mad or not be happy when you tell them you're going to give them more testosterone? Right. And I looked at him and obviously I said, no, men tell them you're going to give them more testosterone. They're the happiest man in the world. He said, well, there's your answer. Right. You increase their total testosterone. It will increase their free testosterone. It will leave the SHBG high, and they'll receive the protective benefits. At the same time, you'll be increasing their free, and they'll feel better, have the better libido, et cetera.
Right. Yeah. We were just talking about that in the truck coming on over here. I was going over my blood work, and I got my blood work done yesterday, or excuse me, Monday. And I got some of it back yesterday, and I was saying my SHBG was 4.9 or 4.4, very low. And I was like, well, at least my testosterone's getting utilized, right? But then I lose the prostate health and the heart health factors. But I feel, this is my opinion, if it is low, you can do other things to mitigate side effects or any long-term things for your heart and prostate, right? That I think would be the right way of doing it, right?
So going back to the total testosterone, free testosterone, if we increase your total testosterone, testosterone will always convert over into estradiol. There's no mathematical equation that says how much is going to, but if you have low estradiol, you increase your testosterone, odds are it's going to increase your estradiol. Now, estradiol is one of the most protective hormones for the heart, for the brain, and for the prostate. They've been using estrogen or estradiol to fight prostate cancer for over 50 years. Tell a man you're going to give them estrogen, and they're going to walk right out the door or lose their mind. Yeah. So if we increase your total testosterone, again, going back to that, it will increase your free testosterone. It will raise your estradiol level up. You'll feel better, and you'll get all of the protective benefits from doing so.
Well, I think touching on the estradiol factor, so I'm just using myself because it's me. My testosterone was 1,500 or greater because it was off the chart. My free testosterone is still pending with the blood work. I just got it early. And then my estradiol was 80. Now, so a lot of people, I put it on my Instagram story and they're like, dude, your estrogen's high. I'm like, yeah, but look at my testosterone. Look how freaking high my testosterone is. So is it really high? At 80, I feel like that's a good number to be at. In the past, I know I didn't go over like my background and stuff like that, but I could do that in a second. Yeah. But like when I was doing shows and taking Arimidex and Novadex and Letrozole, your estrogen goes below 5. Right. I would say that because that's on the scale, right? And how do you feel? I can't get it up. I don't want to do anything. My joints hurt worse than what they hurt right now. I feel that there's, and when I came to you years ago, we were talking about that, and you kind of like broke my mind of the bodybuilding mentality. You can't draw 0 out of 0. So if you're taking all this stuff for your estrogen blocking or estrogen inhibitors, what are you doing? Because it's if it's at its lowest, how are you going to make it lower? Right. And there's no correlation to getting coming out now. What I've started to notice, and you said this way before it even came out. There's no correlation to getting lean and high estrogen or low estrogen.
Right.
So,
I mean, speaking from personal experience, I've been able to get myself very lean down into single digits without taking a single estrogen blocker.
Right.
And my estradiol level was 105.
Okay.
I'll show that to anybody who doesn't believe me. I haven't touched an estrogen blocker in years.
I believe that.
To give everyone some perspective as well, when a lot of doctors, when they start patients on testosterone, they instantly want to put them on an estrogen blocker. However, the patient may not be suffering any estrogen-related symptoms. And when I say estrogen-related symptoms, the main one being gynecomastia or the slang term bitch tits.
Bitch tits.
So that's the only time you really want to lower your estradiol level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when it's high, that's where you're protected at. And to give some perspective, the average pubescent male teenager's estradiol level ranges between 75 and 105, and doctors are not giving them estrogen blockers. So why are they freaking out when they see a male patient that's a 40 or a 50? Most of the protective values from estrogen start at about 75 to 80 on up from there. So you want to have that higher level for the protection. Plus, it's great for sex drive. I can tell you that if you're suffering from sexual dysfunction or you just feel like you don't have the libido you once have, check your estrogen level and see where that's at, because that's just as important as where your testosterone level's at, along with the rest of the hormones. You fix one of them and you're going to feel better, but realistically, you fix all of them and it's just going to help each other work synergistically better.
Well, I think that's a really big thing of in today's industry, I should say. Estrogen blockers are widely given just for no reason. We see patients, doctors can't even prescribe testosterone correctly.
I had a patient come in who was prescribed 3 milligrams a day of Arimidex. And
a day.
To give you an idea, a mathematical number that Dr. Ruzia threw out was a 0.5 milligram of an anastrozole or Arimidex on average. And again, there's leeway because everybody's going to respond differently. Will drop somebody between 50 and 100 points. So,
really?
Yes. And that's 0.5 milligram one time in a week. Now, sometimes if you have gyno symptoms, you're going to have to take a couple small doses. So you'd want to divide it up into using the least amount possible for the shortest amount of time. So it might be a 0.5 milligram twice per week. It's different for everybody, but once you get it under control, you want to discontinue the use of that. If you shut it down for too long and then you stop taking that, you're going to get an estrogen rebound. So you're going to go from zero and your body's going to try to rebalance or recoup from that. And it's going to shoot it back up higher than probably where you started taking that blocker to begin with. So you're going to be in this constant battle between your gynecomastic symptoms and your estrogen level.
If you have gyno, you should probably just get it cut out. That's all I would have to say on that.
Well, you went down that road, so let's talk about that.
I cut those little babies out. They weren't little either. So I'll give a little background. This is great, so I could jump into mine.
Absolutely.
So for me, I compete in bodybuilding. Still to today. I don't know when that journey is going to end. Probably soon. The way everything's going. My health is good. Everything's good. I was a football player. Unfortunately, my grade sucked, so I didn't go play college football. I was super invited to come to this JUCO up in Minnesota. I went up there in May and it was cold as shit. So I didn't go. There's a Piggly Wiggly. I was very close to South Dakota. It was a good school. But anyways, long story short, so I got into bodybuilding. But during my football experience, I actually took pro hormones.
Okay. And
we were talking about this. Mass Tabs. What was the company?
IDS.
Yeah, IDS, baby. If you're listening to this, contact me. So Mass Tabs. So those were very... gray area at the time. I don't think they were legal. They were still legal. The stores, GNC had it. Yeah. Pro hormones. So, I got really strong. Right. So I was like, wow, this is great. I was in high school, and there was a couple of us, I won't even name names, Nicky Antico. So we're on this journey, right? We're I put on like 90 pounds on my bench. And I think I was like 17 at the time, 16 or 17. My nipples flared up so good though. They were so sore. I would wear t-shirts and I was like, I have to wear Under Armour to bring down my nipples so I could put a t-shirt on. So I used to wear really tight Under Armour shirts because my gyno was getting so bad. So in 2011, I was 21 and I got them removed. It was the best decision because I knew I wanted to go into bodybuilding.
You got what removed?
My gyno, my mammal glands.
Okay.
So the mammal glands, they actually did not liposuction. They went in there, they cut my mammal gland out. I forgot how many cc's it actually was, but it was like these fucking little chicken tender looking things.
What would be the benefit of cutting the gland out versus just removing the tissue?
So when you cut the gland out, it'll never be able to grow back.
Sold.
Supposedly. A lot of doctors have, what I've heard is that people have gotten the tissue removed, but they do liposuction and cut the tissue out, but they left the gland in. So the gland's like a pea size behind your nipple. And as you know, like sometimes when you get a flare up, you're like, oh shit, that thing's getting bigger. So they cut everything out. And I actually like, if I get too fat, I raise my hand or my arm, whatever, there's like an indentation.
Sure.
Or indentation. That's a verbiage. Because they didn't do liposuction. So I wish they actually did some liposuction around the area. So I was susceptible to having fat around my tits. So bitch tits, fatty tits. So anyways, so I I got that done, and then I started competing in bodybuilding when I was 22. I did my first show. I'm gonna go like underground stuff real quick to kind of give a background. In bodybuilding, you have to take things that are not prescribed, unfortunately, and my stuff was fake because you know that story. So you go down that road and you take things and you learn. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that being a bodybuilder and being in it right now and coaching people and working here, my mindset has changed so much. And I think it's maturity. But what I've seen you go through, what I've gone through, we'll touch on that on another episode. Life is precious. So if you're a young kid and you are listening to this, if you've gotten this far, if you're taking stuff, I can't really tell you to stop, but I would really, really encourage you to educate yourself on the outcome, not right now and not 5 years, but what 15 to 20 years will look like.
Absolutely. It's not if it's going to do damage to you, but when, and especially also based on your genetic makeup. There's a lot of stuff like I didn't find out till I was 31 that I was born with one kidney. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
So you don't really know, you don't really know when you're taking something now that you could be doing irreparable damage for your long-term health.
You know, and when I was young, people used to tell me like, be careful. Like the older guys used to say all this stuff and your blood pressure. You're like, dude, I'm fucking smashing ephedra, taking tren. You're going down the rabbit hole and you'll just take it to take it. You don't even have a rhyme or reason, right? As you're young, you're just like, oh, and especially with now on social media, kids are taking this stuff
younger and younger with zero experience.
It's crazy. And it hurts to like see that. And I find myself in the gym being that old guy that like, oh, when I was in high school, I did this. And I'm like, dude, I'm 33. Like, how long am I going to do this for? How long am I going to be this guy where I'm like, trying to chase that goal? But long story short, coming to you, you've changed my mindset. Dr. Rouzier changed my mindset. I've learned by the seminars that we've gone through, talking to you, talking to our doctors, but also doing my own thought process, right? Because I think you and I have, and in the staff, everyone has this little like, I think this and I've seen this and they share, right? So I think when you go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, that's not so bad or this and that, or you just want people to be healthy. Right. And when we have clients that aren't healthy, then we don't stay in business. Sure. And at the end of the day, realistically, we're here to promote a business and to make money, but also help you in the right way.
Yes, avoid some of the mistakes that we've made and also help to guide you so you're not guessing, like DT was just saying, or like you were just saying. Yeah. I didn't know why I was taking what I was taking. I was just taking it. So there's a rhyme and a reason why you take what you take when. So, you don't always have to be number one, you shouldn't always be taking the most toxic thing in the world. Sure. And you want to look at this like a marathon, not a sprint. If you're taking the most toxic thing in the world and you're doing it continuously day after day, year after year, your time frame is going to be pretty limited.
Do you want to, I don't know, I know we have kind of a mapped out plan here, but do you want to touch on that? Because I feel like it's such a big and misinformed factor of what's toxic, what's not. I'm talking about the bodybuilding stuff. I'm not talking about hormone replacement. And the reason why is because I want to take the segment from the bodybuilding into what we do here and why we're different. So for instance, taking tren, huge topic. People take way too much of it. Of course, you and I have talked, 25 milligrams every other day, 50 milligrams every other day. I mean, I've done 100. I've done 150 every other day coming into a prep. The anxiety, the heart palpitations, the night sweats, can't sleep, aggression. The benefit, strength, and the way you look, right?
To an extent.
To an
There's
extent,
also
yes,
the law of diminishing returns.
Correct.
People think taking
Too
more
toxic.
is going to get you to your goal faster, or going to, it's basically it's going to shortcut the goal, and that's not the case. There's something you can't cheat. You can't cheat time.
Right.
And in order to grow muscle or to lose body fat, you need time. You can take all the stuff in the world. It's not going to help speed it up faster after a certain point.
Right. Well, the good thing. So sorry, we're gonna go off topic real quick. I want to get lean. So what drugs can I take to get lean? Or I want to get big. So what drugs can I take big?
Sure.
We've had these conversations and
daily.
Yes. I always thought if you want to get lean, take Masteron, Tren, Test. I'm just throwing those compounds out. But if you want to put on size, you could take those too. But also, flip side that you've told me and I never done, you've dieted on Deca and Test, right?
Right.
And gotten really lean.
Right.
So I think kind of touch on that and explain your thought process about that.
Well, certain compounds, actually, there's a whole lot of misconception. People think that there are these meds or drugs to diet and these ones to put on size. In reality,
before we get into that, nothing can actually burn fat besides DMP. We'll just throw that out there. Like an actual supplement for burning fat. Clenbuterol and albuterol.
ECA.
Yeah, but like Tren doesn't help you. It doesn't actually burn fat.
No.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like people are like, oh, I'm going to burn fat on this.
I mean, it might make you warmer than normal, which in turn is a thermogenic.
Sure.
But we're really grasping straws there.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no, that's all right. You can diet or you can try to put on size or whatever compound you use towards your goals. It's all about food in versus food out.
Correct.
Like, if you want to grow, you have to take in a surplus of calories, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, etc. If you want to lose body fat, you have to be at a deficit. So these drugs that are available or these supplements, you can take them for growing and you can take them for losing weight. Either one of them is going to help you with your goal if your diet is on point. But a lot of people like to take these and not do the diet. They think it's going to be the shortcut or the secret. There is no secret. There is no shortcut. I'll tell everyone right now. I spent 20 years trying to find what that secret or shortcut was.
What about can you tell me how to put on muscle and get leaner at the same time?
We're not going down that one.
Yeah, I know. If anyone finds that out, can you guys send that over to us? Because but I guess going down that and there's so many different ways of doing it. And I think that kind of wraps up into what we do here.
Right.
Keeping you healthy and having you at your highest performance. But like you said today, not just in the gym.
Right.
In business, in life, at home. So when you opened the company and you wanted to make it happy, horny, and healthy, kind of explain to the viewers of why those 3 H's, but also explain what we do in the performance aspect. Because we're not just like, oh, here's 200 milligrams of test, see you in 6 months. We're up on the blood work. We're how you feeling? What are your goals? Okay, you could do this supplement, that supplement. So kind of just take that. I know it's a
lot of it's a broad term, but I mean a lot of people that come to us have very similar, if not the same, goals. It's to increase libido. It's to drop body fat. It's to have a better outlook on life. I get the same statement pretty often, which is I didn't realize how bad I felt until I realized how good I feel now, because typically your hormones will decline at a rate of about 1 to 3% per year.
That's crazy, actually.
Are you going to likely notice 1 or 2% per year? No. But if you go, say you're 45 and you look back to when you were 20 years old, that's a pretty drastic difference. And odds are I would bet you feel significantly different at 45 than you did at 20. I know I did.
No.
Do.
Well,
so
I just hurt more.
Yeah, exactly. So, that being said, sorry, where were we going with the question?
No, it's cool. So where we're going is, how are you feeling? What do we do? Happy, horny, healthy. Why did you want to go down that road? And kind of explain the happy, horny, healthy and the performance aspect and working out in the bedroom, at home, in business.
It all correlates. The better you feel, the more money you're going to make. When I say that, it's because you're going to have more energy at work. You're going to be able to get more done. People are going to want to follow you as a leader versus somebody who just gets in there and can barely has the energy to make it to 5 o'clock.
Right.
So you've got your at work performance, then you've got your home performance, the energy levels you're going to have with your family, the quality time you get to spend with them because you're not dragging ass and you're not, on the couch napping.
Right.
You want to be able to spend time when your kids are growing up.
Sure.
The horny part, the more energy you have, the healthier you feel. It's going to snowball into improving your sex life. The better you look, your wife's going to want to rip your shirt off you. And if you can carry your wife up the stairs, whereas you could barely make it up the stairs before, that's going to be pretty motivating to her. And it's going to be pretty motivating to your, your relationship, your overall marriage. So happy, healthy, horny is the ultimate goal. And that's what I tell people. If we do our job, we will be able to help improve those areas. And they will, not only help you in your gym performance, but your work performance, your life performance. So it all really ties back into, it's an investment in your health.
Right.
And, not to go too far off, but it's an investment in your health, and you can either choose to pay now and, live a higher quality of life for the longest period of time, or you can do nothing about it now, wait until you're so far down that road that you're on 15 different prescription medications, 3 or 4 statins, you're in the hospital in and out of there, and you're still investing in your health, just not in a positive way because you're paying your copays and your medical bills. So my goal is to be preventative, be proactive, and not wait until the damage is already done and then try to fix it. It's let's take care of it before it becomes so out of control that, we have to go way down a road that nobody wants to go down, and it can involve surgery, medications, or even loss of life.
Right. And I think that plays back into getting your blood work done. So when someone comes aboard, we ask for blood work. We don't have blood work we've changed things around a bit, right? I like getting blood work in the last couple of weeks when you come on, right?
Right.
I could see 2 or 3 weeks. That's a pretty fresh panel. Some people say, hey, I got my blood work done a couple months ago. That's not happening now. Right. Things can change. Your diet can change. If you were on HRT before when you came to us. So getting your blood work done. And when you come on board, we actually like to do your blood work when you start therapy about 8 weeks later, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the person. But getting your blood work done frequently and knowing exactly what's happening is a huge thing. And I think that's the preventative side.
Right.
That you're talking about.
It's very important to have that baseline where you're starting at, so you know what's going on and what areas show room for improvement. Because let's say your testosterone, thyroid, and DHEA levels are all low, and those are important hormones that are going to be, they're important hormones that are are going to impact your everyday quality of life as well as your overall health. But also what a lot of people do is they'll get on therapy, or if they're not going through a doctor, they'll cycle, as people call it, and they'll come back off, and then they'll check their blood work 10 weeks after they've been taking their therapy or their cycle.
Yeah.
Well, it does no good because you actually don't know where your levels were at when you were in the middle of that. So it's much more important and much more accurate to do it while you're in the middle of your program to see where those levels are at and see if there's room for improvement. And if you are doing anything damaging to your body, you have the time to mitigate it and stop it versus waiting until after and then looking at your blood work 10 weeks after you've been off everything and getting a false sense of reality that you're safe and you're not doing any damage because your body's already recovered.
Well, the funny part is about the blood work aspect is that you don't feel anything.
Right.
If your liver's messed up, you don't feel it. If your kidneys, if your inflammation's high, you don't usually feel it. I'm just giving, if your testosterone's low, you could feel it. But a lot of guys come to us with testosterone being low, but yet their sex drive is still good. And they're like, oh, I didn't know I had it because my sex drive. I'm like, oh, well, that's just one symptom out of the whole category. I think we need to move on. And I would say, we pretty much covered a lot of stuff. I know this is going to we have a little guideline, so I just want to make sure that we're going here. It's a little
cheat sheet.
Little cheat sheet. Oh yes.
Let's go on the stopping of, let's save him some money.
Yeah, I was actually, I looked at the top one and I said, choosing your provider, but then I saw, stop getting scammed by imposters off social media. Listen, guys, I want to say this. If any of you guys want to send money to DT Roth 90 on Venmo, Cash App, I don't have my Zelle on there, but I can give you my phone number for Zelle. Listen, I would gladly take the money to help pay my bills. But I'm not selling steroids online or my social media platforms. My Instagram is dt.roth. My TikTok is dt.roth. That's the only thing. You should probably DM me on both social media platforms before talking to a so-called Coach DT Roth or something of that nature.
Right.
Also for you, would you like to explain your IG and your TikTok?
Yes. So my TikTok is justin.bucky and my IG is also justin.bucky. And then obviously we have the Lifexmd one.
Yes.
What we found out is there are many, many imposters and they're taking people's money, and we're getting angry phone calls that we didn't send people their meds when we don't know who they were. Come to find out, they spoke to somebody and thought they could just place an order over Instagram or TikTok and they would get their medications. We are a legitimate medical practice. We have to go and follow a set standard blood work. You speak to the doctor, you have symptoms. You know, it's not just a mail order illegal steroid pharmacy.
Yeah.
So if anybody asks you to pay them Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, we do not take any of that. We take credit cards with the exception of PayPal for blood work on our website, lifexmd.com. Other than that, if anybody asks you to pay like that, or if you didn't speak to a doctor, if you didn't have to submit for blood work, that should be a major red flag right there.
And also we don't sell Tren, Mastron, EQ, Halo. I mean, you guys, like, if you guys think that Tren is a pharmaceutical
For your health.
For your health, it once was parabolin, right?
Right.
Very long time ago, but it's not now. So there's no pharmacies that make Tren, Mastron, Halo. I mean, you guys just just think about it. Like, just take a second to really think, like, I'm contacting someone to buy illegal stuff and I'm just going to PayPal and Venmo them. Can you explain what products we have that are pharmaceutical and doctor prescribed?
Sure. And first and foremost, everybody needs to realize that this is based off medical necessity. You can't just say, hey, I'm 19 years old and I don't have a sex drive. I want some testosterone or this or that. You know, so there's a rhyme and a reason to why certain medications are prescribed, and they are used for off-label purposes. But that being said, there are a lot of great hormones available that, you know, when used properly under the care of a physician based on medical necessity, they can really help people out. They can help them lose weight. They can help them recover from surgery, et cetera, et cetera. So testosterone, you know, testosterone cypionate, testosterone enanthate, testosterone propionate, nandrolone or nandrolone decanate or DECA, oxandrolone, AKA Anavar. Then we can go down the peptide route, but who knows where the peptide route's going. We don't really have any concrete answers on that, whether or not that's going to change or not. But that being said, keep in mind, this is to improve, remember, make you happy, healthy, and horny. And if we're selling things that are going to or negatively impact your overall health, we're going to have a pretty bad business model, because we're going to have a shrinking business model where we're killing clients left and right.
I can't afford that.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to have good publicity from that.
No.
You know, if your goal is to contact us as a bodybuilder, we can't treat you as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Our goal is for lifestyle. It's health and wellness. It is not to get you on stage and be the biggest, most shredded person in the world. Everything is based off medical necessity. As I was stating, you do speak to a doctor. It is doctor designed and physician supervised. So there is none of that guesswork. That's where we come into play, is we really want to take all that guesswork out of that. And in turn, with all the years of experience with the people we've worked with our training, and with the things that we've done to ourselves, both good and bad, we've got a lot of info we can share with you to help you avoid those mistakes and get you from where you are to where you want to be, your health goal, the safest, fastest way possible.
I think with that, I mean, I know I attract a little bit of the bodybuilding community due to what I post online and what I look like. And that's great, right? It's publicity, it's views and whatnot. But that's not who we're looking at. And I know me being a bodybuilder is a good and bad thing, right? And I look at it as this: me being a bodybuilder, of course, you do things that aren't the best for you, right? But I think with the mindset that I have now, being on the other side of this and what we do every day, I can't be really a hypocrite either, right? So I try to do the best of my abilities to keep myself healthy. And that's why I don't do a lot of the stuff that I used to do. Over the past year, of course, I've gone through some things. And I don't know if we want to keep that for another.
Yeah, I'll give it another episode.
Yeah. But my thought process has changed. So when people come to me and I hear about these cycles that they're on, I'm like, man, you really just don't understand. Like,
Right.
you're taking this, but you can't even stick to a diet all week.
Right.
You're probably training like a bitch, and then you're taking all this shit.
It doesn't make up for not training and not eating right.
Happen? Yeah. Like, what do you think's going to happen?
You know, if people take something, are they going to get results out of it from not putting in any effort? Quite honestly, probably a little bit.
Yeah.
But the more work you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. And a lot of people are under the mindset, oh, I can just take more of this in order to do less work. And that's not the case at all. And number two, we're not going to put you on super physiological dosages. You know, this is going to be up to the doctor. What's going to be your starting point. And then when we do the follow-up lab work around the 6 to 8 week mark, if there's room for improvement, we will improve those.
That's a really good topic. I'm glad you actually brought that up. What would, we'll use myself, right?
Sure.
If I came to you, a 33-year-old male, and my testosterone is in the optimal range, but my previous levels were around 300, let's just say. And I've told you, hey, I've been prescribed, 200 milligrams to 300 milligrams, depending, on the provider. What do you think a good process for myself would be when I come to you if I was a patient, right? Can you kind of explain like the process of what you would do with me?
Sure.
So how to get started, I would say, how could, if I wanted to come to us and get started with us and I was a TRT patient and I'm just changing providers, can you go through that process?
Sure. So what you would do is you would come to our website, you would click on Get Started Now, and it would take you to a page with a health history form. It's going to tell us any past and present medical conditions, how you currently feel, how you want to feel, what your goals are. And that's going to allow us that's going to help us to build your program. From there, we set you up with lab work, and we can typically find a lab work in just about every state within about 15 minutes of where somebody lives. LabCorp, they're all over. Then we get those results back. We have you either send us a physical from your doctor, or if you're in our area, you can come into our office and see one of our physicians. From there, once you do the consultation, we'll go over your lab work and show you where you currently are versus what's considered optimal and discuss what we need to do to get you from where you are to where you need to be, again, the safest, fastest way possible.
So when they sign up with us, and they go through the process, they go through the telemed, we do have different packages. We do have subscription-based programs. But I think the biggest thing is, when am I going to get it? Right.
Yep. And so that can vary throughout the year based on, obviously everybody probably remembers the toilet paper shortage last year. And the same thing happened with a lot of other things, from, plastic caps for the vials, the safety snap off caps. So there's all sorts of things that can delay it. But on average, we can typically get you your medication, your therapy within about 7, no more than 10 business days, a lot of times sooner. But I like to say that, so I'd rather under promise, over deliver. Yeah. So I'd rather under promise, over deliver. But it's a very realistic time frame. So from the time that you do your consultation with the doctor to the time that you can start on therapy, usually about a week. So it's not a very long-term case where you're going to be waiting to see a doctor, where I know I talk to some people and they need to see a specialist and they tell me they've got a 3-month wait. That's not going to be the case with us. Once we have everything we need, those forms that I just listed, we can typically get you in front of our doctor within about a week or sometimes even sooner.
Yeah, for sure. I would say this, and one of the topics we talked about is things to look out from a provider or choosing a provider. Why would someone want to come to us, right, over the $99 a month type of place?
Sure. I'm a firm believer you get what you pay for. So I always recommend to people, when they're looking for a provider, ask them questions. Ask them what type of training they've undergone, how long they've been doing this, what type of things they would prescribe for your therapy and why. Pick their brain and make sure that you're with the right person. Because I can't tell you how many people look at this as a revenue stream, and it's how many people can I sell this to and how much can they afford. So they don't have your overall best health interest in mind. So that's one of the reasons that you would want to make sure that your doctor or whoever you choose to work with has a vast understanding of this. Number two, all of our medical staff does go through yearly training with Dr. Neil Rousier. Right. So everybody is well versed in hormone optimization, or his course is Mastering the Protocols of Hormone Optimization.
Sure.
They are actually CME courses, or continuing medical education courses. So they are recognized by the medical establishment.
They're fun.
Yeah, exactly. They're great. They're very entertaining. You learn a lot. And on top of that, just the customer service that we're going to be able to provide you, the knowledge. We're going to help you be able to avoid making those mistakes that we or some other people have made. Yeah. And third or fourth, the quality of the medications. I'm a huge stickler for where our medications come from. We've been using just 2 pharmacies over the last 10 plus years because we've never had to send anything back to them due to quality, recall, contamination issues. I can tell you, not all compound pharmacies are created equal.
No.
So I've seen people get their testosterone done on 200 milligrams from one pharmacy and 200 milligrams from another, and they do it at the same time frame from when they took the shot, so say 4 or 5 days, and it can be as much as 1,000-point swing. So not all compound pharmacies are created equal. The ones we do use are FDA accredited, so they follow the most strict guidelines before you become a drug manufacturer. They do test everything for endotoxin, sterility, accuracy of dosing to make sure what's on the label is actually what you're putting in your body.
100%.
And then these medications are also customized to your individual needs. So not a one size fits all. That's where compounding comes in. Big Pharma is mass produced 100,000 tabs at 500 milligrams, whereas these are produced based off the prescription that comes into them. So this medication is customized to your individual needs. And then based on how you're responding to that, we can adjust those dosages. So it's not a one size fits all.
It's freshly made.
Yes.
It's a good batch. I think that's a big question, right? So like the customer service aspect, and I'll toot my own horn on this one. I'm always available. I have 2 phones. I have a personal and then I have the work phone. The work phone goes off all day, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., and then 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I don't get to the 3 a.m. ones. I think I do a pretty good job by answering everyone's questions in a timely fashion. I know sometimes things get lax with emails and text messages and whatnot, but I think we do a very good job here of communicating with our customers or our patients, whatever you want to say. I'm looking out for them, answering the questions. We just don't one-off you and then say, hey, I'll talk to you in 8 weeks.
Yep.
It is hard at sometimes to check on everyone, but we're always available. And I think one of the things is that we're available on Instagram too. Whether it's the Lifexmd page or our personal page, we're here. And you guys can always call us. You guys can text us. Whatever you guys need from us, email. If you are a patient, we'll help you out.
Right.
Just don't think you're a number because you're really not. I mean, we don't want you to get hurt. We want to check your blood work. We want to keep you going. And a lot of patients we don't hear from because they feel great.
Right.
And that's fantastic too. Sometimes you forget John Smith, like, oh, hey, I forgot you were a patient because you've been going for so long and you don't need anything.
We've got patients that have been with us 10, 12 years now.
Yeah. Some patients need it.
So that being said, should we touch on peptides?
Yeah, well, we got some time left, I think, right? 10 more minutes? All right.
We can we can save that to the next one.
Yeah, let's save that because that's a huge topic.
Let's talk about some of the services we do have available. So that being said, we've got everything available under sun that's going to be preventative towards your overall health and try to keep you out of your regular doctor's office, where most doctors tell you, that's part of just getting older. We're fat, sick, and nearly dead. And that's not the case. So we look at everything, how can we improve this? So bioidentical hormones, we've got the peptides, we have vitamins,
injectable vitamins
we've
too.
Got amino acids.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We have hair solutions. We have
sexual performance.
Performance. Oh yeah,
those are a huge one.
Yeah,
those are great.
Welcome to the dark night of. And also the acne cream that you were talking about. Do you want to explain some of the packages that you were coming up with and what you were thinking about how to mitigate things that are happening? Like if a client is having some acne, you said you had a solution for that, right?
So a lot of times doctors would just give you a antibiotic. And the problem with the antibiotic is you take the pill, and it goes through your entire body and has an overall effect on your entire body. But if you're just breaking out on, say, your shoulders or your chest, what we have done is created a topical compound that will treat just this area. So it's going to have the antibiotic in it or whatever else is in there that's going to help, say, dry the skin out or get rid of the bacteria. But now instead of taking the pill that would go through your whole body, you're only going to be treating the affected area. So you're treating it systemically or topically instead of, taking pills. And in turn, that's got less potential side effects. We're able to get things under control, and if anything needs to be adjusted dose-wise, we can adjust the strengths of those creams very easily.
For sure. And also hair topical, right? Like a lot of people are, the question, if I'm on testosterone, I'm going to lose my hair. It's like, my hair is gone because of other things and just genetic components. If it's genetic, sorry, dude, like it is what it is. But you can slow that down, correct, with the hair solution?
There are, is testosterone going to cause you to lose your hair? It could, but it is a very small percentile. A lot of people don't realize. That being said, we do have a topical hair loss formula. It's got latanoprost, which is the same stuff that's in Latisse, the eyelash stuff, along with a couple other things, minoxidil. I don't know everything off the top of my head, but it's used topically. And I've got before and after pictures. If anybody's interested, I can show you. Of some of the success stories, and the stuff really works, or I would not even recommend it. That's another thing that we are big on is trying everything before we put it out there and recommend it. We will not sell something that doesn't work or offer a service that doesn't work. This is not just a, see how much we can sell to somebody. This is, let's sign them up, build a relationship with them, and work with them for the long term.
Right. You can't just a la carte something here too.
No.
You're just like, hey, I just want oxandrolone, but I'm taking TRT. That doesn't work. My hair went from my head to my back. That's pretty much for my hair. So, unfortunately, I did not use the hair solution. But I think at this point in my life, I think it's a little too late.
It might be a lost cause.
Yeah, we're
but that being said, it's the hair topical product we have is much safer than taking something like finasteride. And finasteride has a potential ton of side effects. That, like, for one, the one that scares me the most is irreversible sexual dysfunction.
We have Trimix for that.
So you don't want to necessarily use that if you don't have to at all costs. There is another, I'll call it a sister compound of it called dutasteride, where you only take it twice a week. It's got it has a lot less side effects. There's less side effects using dutasteride. So that's another one. But if you can treat it topically, again, that pill's not going through your body and messing with everything else in there. So again, just one of those custom things that are made specifically for what we're doing and for your individual needs.
Yeah, you could take Trimix.
Yeah. We'll get on that another one.
Yeah, we'll do that. Honestly, I think that's really good. I think this is kind of a wrap to the first episode of Peak Performance. There's another title that we can call it: Peak Performance Hormones and Peptides. Yeah, that's the correct.
The Peak Performance Hormone and Peptide Podcast.
Yes, thank you. All right, thank you for joining today on Peak Performance. No, awesome. So, my name's DT Roth. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. You can give us a shout at the clinic, Lifexmd. If you guys don't know, Lifexmd.com is where you can go to inquire about our services. You can go on there and fill out the questionnaire.
You can also go to our websites. Each one, we have an individual page, but another one. You can reach justinbucky.com. You can go there and fill out the contact, or dtroth.com. They will all lead back to us, and we will reach out and get you scheduled for a consultation as fast as possible. We would love the opportunity to help you with whatever you're dealing with and improve your quality of life. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, please comment at the bottom, like this, share it, subscribe, put the bell on, the ding. And if you guys have any other questions, follow us both on Instagram and TikTok for more informational stuff that we'll be putting out. I think we put out informational stuff, but also we put out controversial stuff and experience. So it's not just about hormones and peptides. It's just about sometimes blood pressure, cholesterol, heart. Right. Everything that goes into the healthy lifestyle. It all correlates. But thank you for joining. If you are listening to this and if you've gotten this far, episode 2 will be coming out sometime. I don't know. We're very near future. That's a wrap. Can't give you that information, but thanks for joining us. Thank you very much.